Volcarona is a Pokemon released in Gen 5 that has been one of the scariest and most powerful offensive threats in competitive singles for over a decade. This Pokemon has been competitively viable in every single generation of OU and only seems to get better as time goes on. In a previous video, I made the claim that I thought Iron Moth was the strongest of the three versions of Volcarona, but I think I was wrong about that. While Iron Moth is great in its own right, the original Volcarona has proven to be the more powerful Moth. In fact, Volcarona is more powerful than it's ever been in Gen 9. Let's take a look at why this pest of a Pokemon will never be exterminated. But first I have some bad news. Controversial Pokemon Iron Mugulus and powerful bug-type Spidops have teamed up and are aggressively targeting all individuals who are not subscribed to JimCool. Only Great Tusk has the power to stop them, but he won't help unless Jimothy reaches 21,000 subscribers on YouTube. 64.4% of you are regretfully not subscribed. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel to ensure your safety. Thank you. Volcarona has an excellent stat distribution, with enormous special attack, as well as good special defense and speed. Volcarona's most valuable trait is its access to perhaps the best boosting move in the game, Quiver Dance. This move will boost a Pokemon's special attack, special defense, and speed by one stage. Despite Volcarona's ×4 weakness to rock and poor defensive typing, the game-ending power of Quiver Dance is always more than made up for this. All it takes is a single opportunity to use Quiver Dance for Volcarona to start wreaking havoc. With its great bug and fire stamp types and good coverage options like Giga Drain to hit water types or Psychic to hit poison types, Volcarona is a scary Pokemon to play against. You need to be very careful when you're up against a Volcarona, always keeping something healthy enough to stop it after it Quiver Dances, or just never allowing it the turn to boost up. Volcarona is a Pokemon that always seems to be made stronger with the introduction of new mechanics. In Gen 5, Volcarona is part of the reason that the gem items were banned from competitive singles. These consumable items would provide a 1.5 times damage boost to a move of a certain type, meaning that Volcarona could nuke through just about anything, even Pokemon that would usually be able to answer it after a Quiver Dance. Gen 7's Z moves were similar on Volcarona, providing it with a one-time nuke that could also power through Pokemon that would otherwise answer Volcarona. In Gen 8, the new item Heavy Duty Boots was introduced, which allowed Volcarona to patch up its biggest weakness. Volcarona's ×4 weakness to Stealth Rock was its absolute biggest drawback. Volcarona always required Rapid Spin or Defog on teammates for support in the past, and Stealth Rock would really restrict its ability to find Quiver Dance opportunities. But now Volcarona is able to ignore Stealth Rock completely and become even more powerful than it already was. But at least in Gen 8, there wasn't any mechanic like Gems or Z moves to let Volcarona power through Pokemon that are supposed to check it. These consumable or one-time use offensive resources are a natural fit on a Pokemon like this that has such a high impact boosting move. They allow Volcarona to maintain its advantage and win games a lot more often. So of course, Gen 9 came along and introduced a new mechanic that made Volcarona even more powerful: terrastalization. In Gen 9, Volcarona can not only ignore its biggest weakness, Stealth Rock, it can now gain 1.5 times damage on any of its moves, much like the gems of Gen 5. But this time it keeps that damage boost permanently, and even becomes a new type to patch up its other biggest weakness, its poor defensive typing. Terrastalize also lets you keep the stab damage of your previous types, so Volcarona's bug and fire moves will still hit just as hard on top of whatever new stab type it gets. Terrastalization almost feels like it was made for Volcarona. Terra Grass was the option people gravitated towards at first, granting Volcarona with a water and ground resistance, which is great defensively and also enhances the damage of Giga Drain. Gen 9 did introduce Clodsire and Skeledirge, two new Pokemon with Unaware that can match up pretty well against Volcarona, ignoring its offensive boosts and effectively walling it. Volcaronas have started to use Terra Blast Ground for this reason, which hits both Clodsire and Skeledirge super effectively. Bulky Quiver Dance sets with Morning Sun, Will-O-Wisp, and a good defensive Terra type like Fairy, Water, or Grass are also quite popular. With the special defense boosts from Quiver Dance, Will-O-Wisp reducing the enemy's physical damage, an instant recovery move, and even a strong defensive typing, this set is quite frustrating to play against and can be very difficult to take out. Volcarona is a Pokemon that has always been teetering on the edge of brokenness, and in some cases one small thing can push it over that edge. In Gen 5 it was Gems, which made Volcarona almost impossible to respond to. This This was such an issue that gems had to be banned completely. And in Gen 9, with access to both boots and terrastalization, Volcarona is more powerful than it's ever been. It also doesn't help that Gen 9 has pretty limited options at the moment, which can make offensive threats like Volcarona feel even more restricting. There was a recent tiering survey where the player base was asked how they felt about Volcarona and other Pokemon. On a scale where 1 means balanced and 5 means broken, it received a rating of 2.97, which means that the player base does think it's potentially problematic, but not completely overwhelming. Interestingly, Garganical was also voted on and received a higher rating of 3.29. As someone who's played competitive singles since Generation 5, a Volcarona that can ignore Stealth Rock and change its type feels like some sort of affront to nature. This Pokemon is an absolute monster in Gen 9, but I would agree that it's not quite as overwhelming as other Pokemon have been this generation. And after Pokemon Home releases, I'm sure there'll be many more ways to answer the moth than there are at the moment. What do you think of Volcarona? Has terrastalization made it too powerful? What would you like me to talk about next? Let me know down below in the comments. And thank you for watching. This video was requested by Tier 2 patron Riza. Thank you for the support. If you'd like to request a Pokemon for me to cover in a short, informative video just like this one, become a Tier 2 patron. Thank you to the patrons. Become a patron to appear on this fun end screen alongside your favorite Pokemon, as well as various other rewards such as video requests.
The money got different, cause of what I'm spending. The money got different.
Oh, it's
Cause of what
Megaphone!
I'm spending.
Oh,
The money
KO'd
got
by
different.
one hit! It
Cause
scattered
of what I'm
spikes!
spending. The money got different.